After 60, dating can either bring you the joy you've been waiting for, or it can break you in ways you never imagined. At this stage of life, the wrong woman won't just hurt your heart, she can steal your peace, drain your health, and even cost you your savings. Too many men over 60 rush into relationships out of loneliness, only to regret it later. That's why today, I'm exposing the 5 types of women you must never, ever date after 60. Each type has left scars on men just like Eugene, and as you'll see, some of these women are harder to spot than you think. And I'll warn you right now, the last one will shock you. Stay with me to the very end, because it may save you from the biggest heartbreak of your golden years. But before we dive in, do one important thing. Hit like right now, hype this video so more seniors can find it, subscribe to Love and Life After 60, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss these life-changing truths. Eugene was 68 when he realized loneliness had become louder than the ticking clock in his quiet house. A widower for 3 years, he had spent countless evenings sitting at the kitchen table, staring at the empty chair across from him. His friends encouraged him to try dating again, telling him there was still joy waiting out there even after loss. And while his heart longed for companionship, his mind was filled with doubts. Could he really open himself to someone new at this stage of life? What if the woman he met wasn't looking for love but for something else entirely? Eugene wasn't naive. He had seen other men his age fall into painful relationships that cost them more than they ever expected. So when he finally decided to step back into the world of dating, he did it carefully. His story, and the lessons he learned, shine a light on the 5 kinds of women every man over 60 should be cautious of, because the wrong choice could cost far more than a broken heart. Type 1. The Gold Digger. Eugene's first attempt at dating after 68 felt hopeful. He met Linda, a 62-year-old woman, at a community dance hosted at the senior center. She was charming, dressed with elegance, and seemed genuinely interested in him. Her laughter was warm, her touch soft, and for the first time in years, Eugene felt alive again. Their first few conversations were filled with talk of travel, music, and family. She told him how wonderful it was to meet a man who was still healthy, kind, and financially secure in retirement. At the time, he thought it was a compliment. He didn't see it as the red flag it really was. At first, things seemed perfect. Linda always suggested nice restaurants, and Eugene was happy to pay because he felt it was his role as a gentleman. But slowly, the tone of their meetings began to change. On their 3rd date, she casually mentioned her electricity bill was late. On the 5th, she hinted that her car needed repairs. A few weeks later, she told Eugene about her grandson who needed money for college. Each time, her eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and expectation, and Eugene felt cornered. He told himself it was just part of caring for someone. After all, wasn't that what love was about? But he began noticing a pattern. Whenever they were together, the conversation turned toward money. Linda never once asked about his dreams, his memories with Mary, or the places he wanted to travel. She seemed less interested in his heart and more focused on his wallet. The turning point came one evening when Eugene mentioned he was thinking of finally taking that cross-country road trip Mary had once dreamed about. Instead of encouraging him, Linda sighed and said, "Wouldn't it be better to invest that money in someone who can share life with you right now?" She wasn't talking about building a future, she was talking about herself. That's when Eugene realized he was nothing more than a retirement plan in her eyes. The lesson Eugene carried from this experience was clear. After 60, your money becomes a magnet, and not always for the right reasons. A woman who talks more about your pension than your passions isn't looking for love, she's looking for security at your expense. Dating after 60 should bring peace, laughter, and companionship, not financial pressure. Protecting your heart also means protecting your bank account. Type 2, the Drama Queen. After his experience with Linda, Eugene promised himself he'd be more careful. He took a short break, then tried again, this time meeting Clara, a lively 65-year-old widow he found through a senior book club. Clara was full of energy, with stories that could light up a room. She had a bold laugh, strong opinions, and the kind of charisma that made everyone notice when she entered. At first, Eugene was drawn to her fire. After all, after years of quiet evenings alone, a little spark seemed refreshing. Their first few dates felt exciting. They went to poetry readings, spent hours debating old movies, and even sang together at a karaoke night. But with Clara, calm never lasted. Every high moment was followed by an explosion. If Eugene was 5 minutes late, Clara accused him of not caring. If he disagreed with her about something as small as which restaurant to eat at, she would storm off, leaving him embarrassed in public. One evening, after Eugene gently said he wasn't comfortable with her raising her voice in front of strangers, she burst into tears at the table, accusing him of trying to silence her. Eugene realized quickly that her world thrived on chaos. Clara needed constant reassurance, constant drama, constant attention. Peace, which Eugene valued above all else at his age, was impossible with her. Even on their best days, the tension lingered like a shadow, waiting for the next argument to erupt. The breaking point came when Eugene invited Clara to meet some of his old friends at a small dinner gathering. What started as a pleasant evening quickly turned sour when Clara felt one of his friends didn't compliment her enough. She raised her voice, insulted the man, and stormed out, leaving Eugene apologizing for her behavior. Later that night, she called him repeatedly, accusing him of not defending her honor. For Eugene, it was the confirmation he needed. After 60, life is too short to be pulled into constant storms. A drama queen may seem exciting in the beginning, but her energy drains your spirit, your health, and your joy. Dating should bring calm waters, not crashing waves. Eugene walked away knowing one truth: after 60, peace is priceless. If a woman can't bring peace into your life, she will only multiply the loneliness you thought you were escaping. Type 3. The controller. When Eugene met Margaret, she was 64 and seemed like the perfect companion. She was well-organized, confident, and had a steady way of speaking that made him feel safe. After dealing with Clara's chaos, Eugene thought a woman with structure and calm might be exactly what he needed. Margaret admired his stories, cooked wonderful meals, and even offered to help him keep track of his medications and appointments. At first, Eugene felt cared for in a way he hadn't since Mary passed. But slowly, the warmth turned into something else. Margaret's help began to feel more like management. She commented on what Eugene ate, insisting he cut out his occasional sweets. She corrected how he folded laundry, saying there was only one right way. She even started planning his week without asking, signing him up for community events and exercise classes she thought were better for him. At first, Eugene brushed it off as her way of showing love, but soon he realized his choices were slipping away. The moment that shook him came one Saturday morning. Eugene had planned to watch an old Western movie marathon, a small joy that reminded him of his youth. But Margaret insisted he attend a local seminar on healthy aging instead. When he politely declined, she scolded him like a child, saying, "If you don't take care of yourself my way, you won't last long." Her words weren't filled with care, they carried control. The more time they spent together, the more Eugene felt suffocated. He missed the freedom to choose his meals, his hobbies, even his clothes without criticism. Margaret's control wasn't about love, it was about power. And Eugene realized that at his age, giving up control of his own life was more dangerous than loneliness. The lesson was clear. After 60, companionship should feel like freedom, not a cage. A controller may disguise her dominance as care, but in truth, she steals your independence, your joy, and your ability to live life on your own terms. Eugene walked away knowing he'd rather live alone than live under someone else's rule. Type 4. The eternal critic. After walking away from Margaret, Eugene thought he had learned enough to spot the warning signs early. When he met Diane, a 66-year-old retired teacher, he admired her intelligence and her refined way of speaking. She seemed cultured, sharp, and always had something interesting to say about history, books, or current events. At first, Eugene thought her high standards would challenge him in a good way. He believed a woman who pushed him might keep him young at heart. But soon, he discovered that Diane's standards were really never-ending criticisms. The first time he noticed it was small. He held the car door open for her on their second date, and she immediately corrected him. "That's sweet, but you should have parked closer. At our age, long walks aren't flattering." Eugene brushed it off as a suggestion. But the small comments kept coming. She told him his shirt was too outdated for public, that his shoes looked tired, and even corrected how he pronounced certain words. At dinner, she picked apart his choice of meal, warning him about cholesterol, salt, and portion size. Eugene began to feel less like a man and more like a schoolboy being graded. One evening, Diane came to Eugene's house for dinner. He had spent the day preparing one of Mary's old recipes, a simple roast chicken that always comforted him. Instead of appreciating his effort, Diane frowned and said, "This is dry, Eugene. Didn't you season it properly? No wonder your wife probably cooked instead." The remark pierced his heart, not only because it was cruel, but because it dismissed Mary's memory. Eugene smiled politely that night, but deep inside, something snapped. The final straw came at a family gathering when Diane met Eugene's daughter and grandchildren. Instead of joining in joyfully, she criticized how his grandchildren behaved, saying, "They're too loud for this age. Don't you think their parents should discipline them better?" Eugene could see the discomfort on his daughter's face. That night, he knew Diane's words were not about improving life, they were about tearing it down piece by piece. The lesson was hard but clear. After 60, no one deserves to live under constant criticism. Companionship should build confidence, not destroy it. The eternal critic may appear intelligent and refined, but her words drain joy, chip away at dignity, and replace warmth with shame. Eugene walked away knowing that love should feel like encouragement, not correction. After 60, he wanted a partner who would lift him up, not weigh him down with endless disapproval. Type 5. The Vanisher. By the time Eugene met Patricia, a 63-year-old retired nurse, he felt more prepared. She was gentle, kind, and seemed to carry none of the drama or control he had seen before. They met at a senior walking group, and their first conversations were light, about books, about her time in healthcare, and about Eugene's love of traveling. For weeks, Patricia made Eugene feel hopeful. She was attentive, sent him sweet messages every morning, and even talked about future plans, road trips, holiday dinners, maybe even introducing him to her family. Eugene thought, finally, something real. But then, just as quickly as she appeared, Patricia began to fade. One week she was full of excitement, the next she was distant. Calls went unanswered. Texts were seen but not replied to. Eugene told himself she was busy, maybe with her children or personal matters. But the silence grew heavier. After 2 months of daily connection, she suddenly stopped showing up at the walking group. Days turned into weeks with no word. Eugene was left confused and heartbroken. He replayed their conversations, wondering what he did wrong. Was it something he said? Was she never serious to begin with? Friends explained it in one word: ghosting. Patricia had simply vanished, leaving no explanation, no closure, and no chance for Eugene to process the ending. At his age, he realized, such sudden disappearances hurt even more because time felt too precious to waste on confusion. The truth Eugene carried was sobering. After 60, not everyone who smiles at you is serious about commitment. Some seek attention, comfort, or distraction, but when it gets too real, they disappear. The vanisher leaves emotional scars, not by fighting or demanding, but by walking away without a word. For seniors, that silence can be just as damaging as betrayal. Eugene promised himself he would never again invest his heart in someone who treated connections so lightly. At this stage of life, every relationship deserves honesty, respect, and closure. Eugene carried all these lessons with him: the gold digger, the drama queen, the controller, the eternal critic, and the vanisher. Each encounter hurt in its own way, but each one also taught him something valuable. After 60, dating is not about desperation, it's about protecting your peace, your health, and your happiness. But Eugene's story didn't end here. Just when he thought love might never feel safe again, he met someone different. Someone who wasn't after his wallet, his control, or his confidence. Someone who valued him for who he was, not what he could give. Eugene finally found the right woman, and their relationship is still strong today. They laugh, they travel, and they prove every day that true love after 60 is possible. And that is what I'll be sharing with you in the next episode: the right type of woman to date after 60. Now that you've learned who to avoid, it's time to discover the kind of partner who can bring joy and peace to your golden years. So don't miss it. Hit like, hype this video, subscribe to Love and Life After 60, and make sure you turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when the next chapter of Eugene's journey is released. Because yes, Eugene met the right woman, and if you listen closely, you just might learn how to find yours too.